You will be a millionaire in 3 weeks, not by chance, not by toil, not by the permission of any man, but by law. The law is exact, impersonal, and immutable. Imagination creates reality. What you assume as true within yourself, even if every sense denies it, will, by the unseen hand of the law, take form in the outer world. But before anything can begin, before the seed can take root, there must be a declaration. Every act of creation begins with a word. In the beginning was the Word, and that word is the statement of intent. Speak it now and mean it. Say to yourself, and say it aloud, I will be a millionaire in 3 weeks. Do not whisper it as a wish. Declare it as a fact. For this act of speech is not for others to hear. It is for the universe to register. When you announce your end with conviction, the universe rearranges itself to mirror that assumption. This is the first step, and it cannot be skipped. To remain silent is to remain undecided, and indecision is the only poverty there is. So right now, before you hear another word, proclaim your intention. Write it, speak it, fix it in consciousness. Say clearly, I will be a millionaire in 3 weeks. For this is the moment of conception. Without it, nothing I tell you ahead will bear fruit. The law does not operate on those who are merely curious. It answers the one who dares to declare. Once the word is spoken, the journey begins, and all that follows will move in perfect order to fulfill it. Now that you have declared your intention, we begin with the first and greatest principle: imagination creates reality. I do not mean that imagination decorates reality or that it colors your perception of the world. I mean quite literally that imagination creates the world. Everything you now see was once only imagined. The house you live in, the chair upon which you sit, the clothes you wear, someone first conceived them inwardly. What was once invisible became visible, because imagination precedes all form. This world, which seems so solid and permanent, is only the crystallized shadow of imaginal activity. When I speak of imagination, I do not refer to idle daydreaming. I speak of the creative power of awareness itself, the divine act of assuming that something is so and resting in that knowing until it becomes fact. To imagine is to enter the state of the thing desired, to think from it, not of it. Thinking of wealth keeps it forever distant. It is an act of separation. But thinking from wealth means you already stand in possession of it. You are no longer wishing, you are remembering. The difference is subtle, yet everything depends upon it. If I imagine myself rich, but feel the absence of money, I am thinking of wealth. But if I close my eyes and feel the satisfaction of already being supplied, already being free, already being the master of my finances, then I am thinking from wealth, and the world must mirror that inner position. Imagination is not a weak substitute for action. It is the cause of all action. Men act upon what they inwardly accept as true. A man who assumes himself to be prosperous will act with the confidence of prosperity, and his actions, guided by that unseen law, will bring about the corresponding outer results. The senses will attempt to contradict this truth. They will show you lack and limitation, and you may be tempted to believe them. But remember this: the senses report only what you once imagined. They cannot tell you what is real. They can only echo what was once impressed upon them. To change the outer, you must first change the inner image. Do not fight with appearances. Withdraw attention from what is unwanted and place it fully upon the wish fulfilled. That act, simple, inward, and persistent, is creation itself. So when I tell you that you will be a millionaire in 3 weeks, I am not urging you to labor harder or seek new opportunities. I am inviting you to adopt the state of the one who already possesses wealth. Feel it as natural. Let that feeling occupy your awareness until the outer world adjusts to it. You cannot be both the beggar and the prince at the same time. Choose this day whom you shall serve, the old assumption of lack or the new assumption of abundance. Whatever you serve inwardly will, in due season, appear outwardly. Now that you understand imagination as the creative power, you must clothe yourself in a new concept of self. Every change in your outer world begins with a change in identity. You cannot remain the same being, inwardly, and expect a different life to appear outwardly. To be rich, you must cease identifying as one who lacks. You must cast off the old man and put on the new. The old man is that habitual self-image that says, I never have enough. Money is hard to come by. I was not born into wealth. These are not facts. They are beliefs worn like garments, and they cling to you only because you continue to wear them. When you lay them aside, the world forgets them too. A new self must now be assumed, one that thinks, feels, and moves from possession, not from want. The root of every manifestation is the concept you hold of yourself. If you see yourself as one who is always striving, you will always strive. But if you see yourself as one for whom things come easily, they must come easily, because the outer world has no choice but to echo the image you hold within. The law is not concerned with what is right or wrong, fair or unfair. It simply reproduces your assumption. When you persist in feeling yourself poor, you reproduce poverty. When you persist in feeling yourself rich, you reproduce abundance. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot honor both lack and possession. So tonight and every night hereafter, take off the garments of limitation. In imagination, remove the old coat of fear and wear the robe of confidence and plenty. Stand before your inner mirror and see yourself transformed. Do not see a man waiting for change. See the man changed. As you do this, you will feel a subtle shift, a quiet dignity rising within you. That feeling is the sign that the old man has died, and the new has taken his place. It is not a struggle, it is a release. The new identity does not fight to be born. It simply appears when you stop clinging to the former one. Hold firmly to this truth. You can never receive more than you believe yourself to be. If you wish to experience greater wealth, you must first become wealth in consciousness. Speak as the rich man speaks. Think as he thinks. Move through the day as one for whom supply is natural, inevitable, constant. You will notice that your reactions begin to change. You will no longer feel anxious when you hear of expenses or uncertain times. You will find yourself calm, certain, expectant. That is the mark of the new man. He does not plead with the world for provision. He knows he is the source from which provision flows. The moment you accept this new self, not as something to attain, but as something you already are, the outer world must rearrange itself to confirm it. What you are within is all that truly matters. Change that, and you change everything. Now that you have taken off the old man and assumed the new, you must understand the force that gives life to every assumption. That force is feeling. Thought alone does not create. Feeling is the fire that impresses the subconscious and causes thought to become fact. You may repeat words endlessly, but until they stir emotion within you, they remain barren. Words are the shell, feeling is the seed. It is the emotional acceptance of the wish fulfilled that plants it deep within the subconscious, where all creation begins. The subconscious is not moved by argument or reason, it is moved by conviction. You cannot convince it by logic, but you can move it by feeling. When an idea feels natural, it is accepted, and once accepted, it must manifest in the outer world. Feeling is the language of the deeper self, and naturalness is the proof of belief. When an idea feels strange, you have not yet entered the state. When it feels natural, it is done. You will know that your assumption has been accepted when it no longer feels like a dream, but like a simple truth, so obvious that you no longer question it. You may recall moments in your life when something you desired came easily. Perhaps it was a meeting, a letter, or a bit of good fortune. Before it appeared, you already felt that it would. That quiet confidence, that sense of ease, is the key. The feeling of certainty always precedes the event. The law operates the same way with wealth, health, or love. Whatever you assume and feel to be true, though every sense denies it, must appear. When I say feel the wish fulfilled, I do not mean you must force emotion. I mean you gently allow yourself to sink into the mood of already having. You let the feeling of completion wash over you, as though it were the most natural thing in the world. If you were already a millionaire, how would you feel as you wake in the morning? Would you rush? Would you worry? No. You would move with calm assurance, perhaps even gratitude. That is the feeling to cultivate, not excitement or strain, but quiet certainty. This feeling cannot be faked, yet it can be invited. You invite it by creating in imagination the scene that implies fulfillment. You see yourself at rest, satisfied, complete. You hear the words of congratulations, or you feel the texture of the life you desire. As you dwell there, the body begins to relax, and the line between imagination and reality fades. That fading is the descent into creation. When the feeling of wealth becomes natural, it is done. You will no longer crave or chase. You will simply know. The world may still show the shadow of the old state, but you will not be moved. You will smile inwardly, for you know that the seed has been planted, and in due season it must bear fruit. Feeling is the secret. Without it, there is no creation. With it, nothing is impossible. When you feel the reality of your desire as though it were already yours, you have performed the only creative act that matters. The outer world is but the echo of that feeling made visible. Now we come to the most sacred moment of creation, the state akin to sleep. This is the doorway between the seen and the unseen, between effort and surrender. It is the fertile ground where your feeling of the wish fulfilled takes root in the subconscious and begins to grow without interference. The state akin to sleep is that gentle drowsiness that comes just before you drift into unconsciousness. It is not full sleep, nor is it wakefulness. It is the quiet borderland where thought becomes vision and imagination is most potent. In this state, the conscious mind relaxes and the guard at the gate of reason grows silent. The subconscious is open, receptive, obedient. Every night, before you surrender to sleep, use this state deliberately. Lie still and let your body grow heavy and calm. Your breathing will slow. Let the day fade from your awareness. The outer world is now behind you. What matters now is the inner scene you choose to dwell upon. Do not attempt to imagine a long story. Choose one short, simple scene that would naturally follow the fulfillment of your desire. Perhaps you are shaking hands with a friend who congratulates you. Perhaps you are reading a letter confirming your financial freedom. Perhaps you are lying in bed, whispering to yourself, "It has happened." Whatever the scene, make it vivid in feeling, not in length. Let it imply the end. Let it carry the satisfaction of accomplishment. Do not watch yourself as a distant observer. Enter the scene and act within it as though it were happening now. Feel the texture of the moment, the warmth of the handshake, the sound of the voice, the calm joy that rises from within. Repeat the scene until it takes on the tones of reality, until it feels alive. Then gently allow yourself to slip into sleep while still engaged in that imaginal act. In that instant, your subconscious accepts the scene as fact, and creation begins. If you wake in the night, return to it. If you awaken in the morning, recall it once more before you rise. Each repetition deepens the impression. The subconscious, like soil, does not judge what seed you plant. It brings forth whatever is sown. Plant wisely, plant faithfully, and do not dig up the seed by doubting its growth. Remember, you are not trying to make something happen. You are assuming that it has already happened. In the state akin to sleep, you do not force, you allow. You rest in the feeling of completion, and that feeling, accepted as natural, becomes the law unto itself. In 3 weeks, if you will enter this sacred state each night with quiet conviction, imagining only one scene that implies the fulfillment of your wealth, you will see signs too clear to deny. You will find yourself guided without effort, moved by unseen currents toward the realization of your desire. This is the secret chamber of creation, the place where all miracles are conceived. Now that you understand how to plant the seed in the state akin to sleep, I must teach you how to cleanse the soil in which you plant it. That act is called revision. It is the divine art of rewriting yesterday, so that it no longer bears fruit in tomorrow. For the past, as you know it, is not fixed. It is only memory, and memory is imagination. What is imagined can always be changed. Each night, before sleep claims you, recall the events of your day. See them as on a small screen before you. Some scenes will please you, and some will not. When you find a moment that was unpleasant, disappointing, or limiting, do not dwell on it. Revise it, change it in imagination, to reflect the outcome you desire. If someone spoke unkindly, hear them now speaking words of praise. If you lost money, Imagine that you gained it. If you felt overlooked, see yourself honored. Replace every shadow with light, every denial with fulfillment. You are not pretending, you are correcting. You are declaring that only harmony and abundance are real, and that discord was never part of your story. As you do this, a strange thing will occur. The emotional weight of the day will lift. The mind will grow quiet, and you will feel that the new scene is the true one. That feeling of relief, of peace, is the sign that revision has done its work. You have erased the false record and written a new cause into consciousness. Do not concern yourself with how the change will appear in the outer world. The law knows its own method. What you revise in imagination alters the pattern of your subconscious, and that pattern must project itself outward in due time. The people and events that once seemed opposed to you will now serve you, for they can only act according to the new script you have written. In this way, you free yourself from the tyranny of the past. You cease to be the victim of memory and become the master of it. The man who revises nightly cleans his mind as another might cleanse his home. He does not allow dust to settle or disorder to grow. When you lie down tonight, before entering the state akin to sleep, look upon the day and gently rewrite it in the image of your wish fulfilled. Then drift into slumber, feeling that all is well, that every event has served your purpose. In doing this, you not only heal yesterday, but plant the seed for a brighter tomorrow. Revision is redemption. It rescues the moments you once called wasted and gives them new meaning. Practice it faithfully, and you will find that life begins to yield fewer thorns and more blossoms. For you are no longer living as the man who reacts, you are living as the one who creates. There is another practice without which no transformation can endure. It is the control of inner speech, what I call the mental diet. You may imagine faithfully each night, but if by day you contradict your vision through careless inner talk, you uproot the very seed you planted. Creation is a continuous process, and your words spoken silently within are its constant command. Every moment of the day, you speak inwardly to yourself. You question, you judge, you explain. These silent conversations form the unseen pattern of your life. For the subconscious accepts every word you say within, whether in anger, fear, or joy, and reproduces it faithfully in the outer world. This is the ceaseless prayer that shapes your destiny. If your inner speech is filled with doubt, if you say, "I cannot afford this, nothing ever works for me, we shall see what happens," then the world will echo those words back to you. It must, for the outer is nothing but the reflection of the inner. But if you train your inner conversation to agree with your desire, you transform the world itself. You must therefore become the guardian of your inner words. Listen to what you are saying when no one else can hear. Are you rehearsing lack or affirming abundance? Are you retelling stories of failure or declaring success as natural and complete? Whatever you repeat within becomes the law of your being. Begin with simple, powerful sentences that match the end you have chosen. Let your inner voice say quietly throughout the day, "Everything I touch prospers. Money flows to me with ease. I live in constant abundance. All things are working together for my good." These are not empty phrases. They are seeds. Each repetition presses them deeper into the subconscious until they become habitual thought, and habitual thought becomes fact. Guard against idle complaints or anxious speculation. When you find yourself beginning to worry, replace the thought at once. Say, "It is already done." When you are tempted to compare or to measure progress, remind yourself, "I am already the one I wish to be." You will soon notice that your inner speech begins to change without effort. What once felt like discipline becomes delight. You will hear yourself speaking with confidence, even in silence. You will feel a new tone of certainty within you, as though a deeper voice were agreeing with every declaration. That voice is the voice of God in you, for imagination and God are one. The man who controls his inner conversation is master of his fate. He does not wait for circumstances to improve. He speaks improvement into being. He does not pray for miracles. He speaks as though the miracle has already happened, and the world cannot help but obey. So let your inner speech this day and every day be consistent with your chosen end. Let it be the ceaseless song of fulfillment, calm and unwavering. For as surely as the tongue shapes the spoken word, your silent words shape the world you walk in. Now that you have learned to govern your inner speech, you must learn the art of remaining faithful when the outer world tempts you to doubt. This is the greatest trial of all. The moment you assume a new state, the world you once knew begins to crumble. Old facts will rise up to challenge you. Bank statements will still show lack. Bills will still arrive. People will still treat you according to their memory of who you were. These are not signs of failure. They are the shadows of old assumptions still echoing through time. Facts are not final. They are only frozen imaginal acts, remnants of the man you once believed yourself to be. When you change your inner state, the facts of yesterday have no power except the power you continue to give them. You must therefore ignore appearances and walk by faith, not by sight. To walk by faith means to remain loyal to the unseen reality you have assumed, even when every sense denies it. It means to stand unmoved in the conviction that your imaginal act is already fulfilled. This loyalty is not strain, it is quiet certainty. You no longer argue with facts, you outgrow them. When doubt whispers, "It has not happened," answer silently, "It has." When appearances shout lack, respond inwardly, "All things are mine." You are not lying to yourself. You are speaking the higher truth that the lower self cannot yet perceive. The world of senses is slow to catch up, but it must follow. The unseen always precedes the seen. Think of a seed buried in the soil. If you dig it up each day to check its progress, it will never grow. The man of faith plants his seed and lets it rest. He knows that life, unseen, is at work beneath the surface. In the same way, when you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must let it be. Do not question, do not measure, do not look for proof. Your faith is the proof. The very act of assuming and remaining faithful is the evidence of things unseen. As you persist, the old world fades like a dream upon waking, and the new world born of your faith appears in its place. Remember, what you call reality is only the harvest of past, imaginal activity. It has no life of its own. When you withdraw belief from the old and give it to the new, the change is inevitable. Stay loyal to the unseen. Walk each day as the man who already possesses what he sought. Act not in hope, but in fulfillment. This is true faith, the steady refusal to be influenced by appearances. When you master this, the world becomes obedient to your inner vision, for it has no choice but to mirror the state from which you live. There is another law you must understand if you wish to live in peace, while your desire unfolds. Everyone in this world is you pushed out. The people who cross your path are not separate beings acting against you. They are reflections of the concepts you hold within. Your relationships, your encounters, even the words spoken to you, reveal your own assumptions objectified. This truth is not meant to burden you, it is meant to free you. For if every person is yourself in expression, then no one has power over you except the power you grant them through imagination. When you see another as unjust, unkind, or withholding, you are simply meeting your own belief in injustice, unkindness, or lack. The moment you change that belief within yourself, the person must change in response, or they will fade from your world altogether. If you desire harmony with others, do not attempt to correct them outwardly. Correct them inwardly. See them as kind, generous, and helpful. Imagine them speaking words that bless you. Feel toward them the gratitude you would feel if they were already exactly as you wish them to be. As you lift them in imagination, you lift yourself, for there is only one consciousness playing all the parts. This is the great secret of forgiveness. To forgive is not to excuse another's action. It is to recognize that they could only play the role your state required. When you assume a new state, they play new roles. The same person who once denied you may become the very one who opens the door. The world responds faithfully to the tone of your inner being. Practice this daily. When someone offends or disappoints you, pause before reacting. Withdraw attention from the scene and reimagine it. Hear them speak kindly, see them smiling. Feel within yourself the satisfaction of harmony restored. Hold that image until it feels natural. Then release it, and go your way. Soon you will find that others begin to treat you with unexpected warmth. Conversations flow easily. Help appears from surprising places. You will realize that you have never been dealing with strangers or enemies, only with reflections of yourself. When you understand this, resentment disappears. You no longer waste energy in resistance. You begin to walk the earth in quiet confidence, knowing that all are servants of your assumption. To love another, then, is to love yourself rightly. To lift another in imagination is to lift the whole of your world. Carry this awareness wherever you go. Speak well of others in thought and feeling, and you will live in a world that speaks well of you. Everyone is you pushed out, and when you see them through the eyes of love and abundance, the entire world becomes your ally in the fulfillment of your desire. Once the seed has been planted through assumption and feeling, life begins to arrange itself in a way that leads you, step by step, to the fulfillment of your desire. This unfolding sequence I call the bridge of incidents. It is the invisible path by which the unseen becomes seen, the natural and inevitable movement from the imaginal act to its physical expression. You are not to build the bridge yourself, nor are you to guess how it will appear. The law operates in ways the conscious mind cannot predict. Its methods are infinite and often subtle. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the law sets in motion every necessary event, every meeting, every coincidence required to bring your desire into being. Your task is only to remain faithful to the end, to walk calmly across whatever bridge appears before you. Do not interfere by asking when or how. The how belongs to the deeper self, the intelligence that governs all creation. When you attempt to dictate the means, you limit the infinite and delay the manifestation. Rest in the knowledge that the law knows its own way. Many times the bridge of incidents appears ordinary. You may be led to make a call, to visit a place, or to speak to someone without knowing why. These are not accidents. They are movements of the greater self guiding you toward the end you have already accepted as true. Follow these impulses without anxiety, for they are the natural steps of the journey you have already completed in imagination. Do not judge the bridge by appearances. Sometimes events will seem contrary to your desire. You may lose something, or someone may depart from your life. Do not be disturbed. The old must often dissolve to make way for the new. Every seeming setback is but a rearrangement of the old structure to align with the new assumption. Hold fast to your end. The bridge may twist and turn, but it cannot fail to reach its destination. The law never forgets what has been impressed upon it. Once you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the outcome is certain. As you observe the unfolding of these incidents, learn to trust the wisdom of the unseen. What comes may not match the picture your reason had drawn, but it will fulfill the essence of your desire perfectly. The law does not err. Walk through your days with quiet expectancy. Each encounter, each delay, each opportunity is part of the perfect design. You do not need to strain or rush. Simply live from the end and let life lead you. When you arrive at the fulfillment, you will see that every step was necessary, every event divinely timed. The bridge of incidents is the path prepared by your own imagination. To resist it is to resist yourself. To trust it is to walk hand in hand with the infinite power that called your desire into being. Now, as the day comes to its close, we return to the sacred moment where all creation begins, the passage into sleep. This is the time when the outer world fades and the inner world becomes supreme. What you assume here, in the quiet of night, will shape the hours and days to come. Lie down and let your body grow still. Let the rhythm of your breathing slow until it feels effortless. The cares of the day have no place here. The world is finished for now. It is time to enter the end. Imagine yourself already the millionaire you have chosen to be. Do not see yourself striving or waiting. See yourself fulfilled. Perhaps you are sitting by the fire in your home, the air calm and soft around you. Perhaps you hold a letter confirming your financial freedom. Perhaps you hear a friend's voice saying, "I always knew you would succeed." Choose one scene that implies completion, simple, vivid, alive. Now enter that scene as though it were happening this very moment. Feel the stillness of contentment. Feel the peace that comes from knowing there is nothing more to seek. Let the emotion of relief and gratitude fill you. Let it feel so natural that you forget the former state of wanting. Hear your own inner voice quietly saying, "It has happened. I am that now." Repeat it gently, not as a command, but as a recognition of truth. With each repetition, let your body sink deeper into rest. The boundary between what is imagined and what is real will begin to dissolve, for they are one and the same. If your mind drifts, bring it back to the scene. Feel again the comfort of abundance. Sense the weight of ease, the calm joy that money can no longer disturb, because it is already yours. Hold that feeling until sleep overtakes you. In this state, the subconscious accepts without question. The act is done, the seed is planted, and life must now express it. You need do nothing more. The unseen will take care of the rest. As you drift into the silence of sleep, affirm quietly, "It is finished. I am wealthy now. I live in the abundance of my fulfilled desire." Let these words sink into the depths of your being, and when you wake in the morning, rise as the one who has already received. Walk through your day with the quiet dignity of possession, for the law never fails, and imagination, your own wonderful human imagination, is the only reality. You have assumed the end, and therefore the end is assured. The world must now reshape itself to mirror the truth you have accepted. Sleep in that knowing. Rest in that peace. You are already the one you desired to be.